he is the one with the matted locks, a crescent moon on his head, with a third eye twinkling in the center of his forehead, and with a devoted maiden serving and worshipping him. Could it be? Yes, Mahadev and Ma Parvati. Let us hear their story. As we know, Lord Shiva had drowned himself in grief when he had heard about the death of his beloved Sati. And so, retiring into the Himalayas, he had absorbed himself in deep meditation. At the same time, in the Himalayas, the mountain king Himavanta or Himavat and his queen Menavati or Menaka had appeased the goddess Ma Adishakti, and happy with them, she decided to be born as their daughter. In fact, she was none other than Sati who was reborn, and now because she was the daughter of Parvatraj, she got the name Parvati. Right from an early age, she was devoted towards Lord Shiva. And once, when sage Narada visited their place, he too uttered a prophecy that she would wed none other than the greatest Lord Mahadev. And so she continued. Now, in the heavens above, the Devatas were all very worried because an evil demon Tarakasur had now laid siege to the heavens. He had become powerful because of a boon given by Lord Brahma that no one other than Shiva's son could slay him. And being sure that Shiva was now a renunciate, he went about conquering all the birds and soon sat in the thrones of heaven. He made the denizens of heaven his servants, and so the Devatas rushed to Lord Brahmaji for help. Lord Brahmaji expressed his inability to help because of the boon that he himself had given. But he suggested that they approach Kamadeva. Kamadeva, being the god of love, known as Manmata or Madana, could instill love in the heart of Shiva, and he would wed Parvati. And then they would get their war general who would help them in defeating Tarakasur. And so Indra approached Kamadeva. Kamadeva grew pale when he heard the task that he had to do, because he knew that it could have disastrous consequences if the meditation of the great Lord was disturbed. But he knew that he had a duty towards the Devatas to help in destroying the evil, and so he called Sati his wife and the spring season his friend, and they all went to the very place where Shiva sat in meditation. As Vasanta went ahead, there was an Akala Vasanta or an untimely spring season. The trees started blossoming with flowers and fruit. The birds started chirping and cooing at each other. The wild deer began drinking water side by side. The flowers also bent closer to each other. And Lord Shiva opened his eyes. At that very moment, Parvati came to his side, and Kamadeva, who was waiting for the opportune moment, took out his sugarcane bow and his pushpaban or floral arrows and threw the dart in the air. Lord Shiva smiled at Parvati. He spoke a few words of appreciation. As Parvati smiled shyly, the moment was lost. For Lord Shiva, who is the master of senses, gathered all his self-control and then, looking away from Parvati, started searching for the one who had dared to disturb his peace. He saw Kamadeva cowering behind a tree, and opening his third eye, reduced him to a handful of ashes. Then, without giving a second glance towards Parvati, he left the place. Rati Devi, who was standing there, started screaming and lamenting because she was shocked at the fate that had befallen them. While Parvati, in utter dejection at this turn of events, ran back to her father's place. Rati Devi now decided to end her life. So she asked Vasanta to help to build a funeral pyre and was about to jump into it when there was an Akashvani. The heavenly voice advised Rati to be patient. It said that on the day Shiva would wed Parvati, her husband would be reborn and they would be reunited. And so she had to just wait for that day. And Rati waited. Till then, Kamadeva would be with her but without a form, Ananga. But the day would come where he would be reborn as Krishna's son Pradyumna. Meanwhile, Parvati, sobbing inconsolably, went to her father's place and decided that if her beauty could not win the heart of Lord Shiva, her penance and devotion would. And so, taking the permission of her father, she set out to the very mountain peaks where Lord Shiva would sit and meditate. This place came to be known as Gauri Shikara, for the pale-hued Gauri would sit there and do her penance. The penance was so severe that all the ascetics in the areas around would get impressed and admired her, calling her Aparna. For to begin with, she had subsisted on fruits, then went on to leaves, and ultimately given up even that in her penance and attempt to woo Lord Shiva. Parna means leaf, and Aparna is the one who has given up even that. The penance went on, standing on one leg at times, bathing in icy cold waters, lying down on the bare ground, and just keeping the chant of Om Namah Shivaya on her lips. Lord Shiva did not appear until one day Brahmaji and all the Devatas approached him and asked him to show mercy, for Goddess Parvati had continued her penance for 3,000 years, and at the same time Tarakasur was growing more and more powerful and was creating a menace. Shiva, as we know, is the easy to please, compassionate Lord, and so he gladly agreed, but he wanted to test Parvati once. And so, suddenly one day, when Parvati was gathering flowers for her worship and getting ready to start her penance, a strange hermit came and approached her. As she was a noble and virtuous woman, she folded her hands and prostrated at this hermit. And the hermit asked her, "Oh lovely maiden, why are you here in this place of stark rocks and mountains? This place doesn't befit you. You ought to be in the luxury of palaces. Tell me, have you set your heart on something? What is it that you are trying to achieve?" Parvati smiled shyly and said, "Yes, I have set my heart on none other than the Supreme Lord Shiva, and I will continue my penance until he appears before me." Now the hermit laughed. He said, "That beggar who roams from ground to ground, who has got matted locks, serpents on his body, ash on his limbs, why do you wish to marry him? So many devatas and princes would gladly have your hand in marriage. Go back, go to your father's palace and give up this penance." Parvati couldn't bear to hear these words about her dearest Lord. So she shut her ears and asked the hermit to leave the place. She told him that only the truly great can recognize another great person. Ignorant people should hold their words. And as Parvati started moving away, she was shocked that the hermit continued to block her path. She looked up in anger, but suddenly she was transfixed, for in front of her stood the very Lord that she had been trying to appease. Lord Shiva stood before her, smiling, asking her what boon that she desired. And Parvati shyly said that she only wanted to be with him forever and ever. She would like to be his consort. When Lord Shiva agreed and then went to King Himavant to ask formally for her hand in marriage, there were celebrations all around. The wedding preparations began soon, for everybody was overjoyed. Who could be a greater bridegroom than Lord Shiva? Shiva riding on his bull with his ornaments of the moon and Ganga flowing from his locks, with serpents royally coiled around his neck, with his tiger skin hide adorning his body, came regally in a procession, accompanied by bhutas and pishachas and all the ganas. All the devatas gathered to watch, and it was the greatest wedding ever witnessed. This is the night of the Mahashivaratri. Soon, in time, a son was born to them, the mighty Kartikeya, who would lead the devatas in a war and then succeed in defeating Tarakasur and rid them of this evil once and for all. So, on this festival of Mahashivaratri, let us visualize this coming together of the Supreme Lord, the Spirit, and the Supreme Shakti, the Purusha and the Prakriti, Shiva and Parvati. If you like today's story, do share it with your friends. Ask them to subscribe to this channel and tune in every week. I will be back with another story of Lord Shiva the next Thursday. Until we meet again, Hari Om.